Hello.
Hi, Jake. I'm eating some cookies, so I'm going to mute myself.
Awesome.
How's it going today?
It's going good. How are you? Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I am. I'm happy it's already Wednesday.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
All right. So, Jake, I think in our last meeting, we discussed as an action item for you to kind of go through some of the issues and give us a perspective on how you think we should approach some of this stuff from a technical view. Like if it makes more sense to go in and fix things strategically or to do like a blow it all up and redesign it thing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And then we can dive into the real goal of what we're trying to accomplish. And maybe there's different ways to tackle it with the scope that we have in front of us today. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. So I went through each issue and just kind of gave some thoughts about them. So it was less of a consideration of blowing everything away and just kind of thinking of what would be needed for each one. And then maybe after I kind of just speak to all of them, it will be clear whether or not we should go like incrementally into each issue and address things or just do a whole redesign. So
I've seen your feedback too. You've been giving some really good commentary on connecting issues as well. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, so that first issue in the Epic environments dashboard indicate to users that removing, adding a project from one dashboard view affects all others. So I really like the proposal that's already there, just giving some sort of messaging indication, either in a modal or in some UI text somewhere. But then I was wondering if long-term, I think my main concern there is, will that add hesitation to the user to make any changes? Like if they go to add or remove a project and then some messaging appears that says that this will affect the operations dashboard, will that cause some mental friction and a moment of concern and hesitation? And it will probably be better to do that messaging now anyways, because that's what happens when you add or remove a project. So it will at least add some clarity there. But I was wondering if long term, should we really decouple these dashboards so that projects aren't synchronized and then give the users the option to synchronize the dashboard? And then I found this other issue, which was to investigate the jobs to be done differences between operations and environments dashboard. And I was almost wondering after reading that, if there should be a consideration to just combine the two at some point, if that would even make sense. But I don't really have any research to back up whether or not that would be useful or not for users. So that was just a light thought, really. So moving on to the improve add project modal. I think this one definitely wouldn't require us to blow away the entire dashboard and do a redesign. I think we could just pre-populate this modal with projects from a group. The only concern that I really had about this from a technical perspective is that our API has a maximum limit of 100 projects per API request. So we would have to do some sort of pagination. And if you have a large amount of projects, this could possibly cause performance issues. So that was just something to keep in mind, but I definitely think that the possibility of pre-populating this modal to add projects can definitely be done without needing to do a huge redesign. And let me know if anything doesn't make sense as I'm going through these. So now I'm looking at the third issue in the Epic environments dashboard error message is incomplete, feature possibly broken.
How do you keep a straight face when you read that title? You did such a good job. Feature possibly broken. I always like I just laugh at that. I don't know. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Yep, no, the feature is definitely broken because we're not showing the invalid project name at all. This is strictly a technical issue. I looked through the JavaScript file that this message is being produced from, and somewhere along the line, the name of the project just goes blank. So it just requires some technical investigation. The front end weight probably could actually be dropped. Looking at it, it's a 2. I think only 1 MR would be needed to address this. So we can probably actually drop the front end weight to a 1. We'll do that right now, actually. And yeah, this is, I mean, from a technical perspective of fixing this error, definitely not requiring a redesign, definitely just a technical thing. If we find that this messaging should be improved at all other than just fixing this bug, then I think like an issue can be opened to address the UI text. But other than that, I don't think that this warrants a redesign. The next issue was support grouped environments in the environments dashboard. And for this, I went through and weighted everything a few days ago. I think that Hayana and I discussed the mockup a bit in the last meeting, and we found that it mostly makes sense. So it's showing the number of environments in a particular group. So if we have like, there's a group called Sandbox, and you have Sandbox 1, Sandbox 2, Sandbox, and just keep going, just show that number of environments in a particular group. The card will show the latest pipeline of an environment in that group, and the review apps will link to the latest environment that had a successful pipeline. I think that makes sense. I think that this seems fine to me. Happy to discuss if there's a redesign warrant in here, but yeah, that's it.
My connection is super unstable, so let's see if I if I understood correctly. So this is the one that we discussed last time, right? That we looked into the UI and also the initial proposals. One thing I was thinking about this this issue, Jake, is that what we looked at in the prototypes is actually what is implemented. So I'm not sure exactly how to translate that. But in this case, I feel like I need to look into the designs together with you and see if this proposal is really the best approach, especially if we consider that when we support the grouped environments and then we have the pagination and also a limited number of environments that we show there, I wonder if this this proposal here is the best solution.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point if we're going to move forward with pagination. And I think we also discussed last time that we weren't 100% sure if we were going to go forward with pagination either. Yeah, I mean, based on the current mockup, I don't think this would really affect pagination because we're not showing multiple projects, or we're not showing like in the mockup, it shows that development has like 346 environments. We're not really loading 346 environments in this view. We're just getting the number of environments under development.
Yeah, you're just showing that counter and say that here is your latest deployment.
Yeah.
You go. I have a feeling that this is how it works right now. I'm gonna read the description again and also look at the source of truth for this issue, like the MVC, and see how I can, log this in GitLab. Right. But I think this one, my gut feeling is that, let's discuss this.
Okay. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Okay, so I'm going to move over to investigate job to be done differences between operations and environments dashboard. And I I really just this is like a research issue, and so that's why I kind of tied this back to that first issue where I made the thought about maybe combining operations and environments dashboard. I think the main the position of the problem here basically is that there needs to be a more specific difference between the operations dashboard and the environments dashboard, and what persona of a user would use one over the other. And yeah, I think my thought here was, collecting some research based on the issue described, and thinking maybe in terms of like a long-term redesign, how we can either make the differences more clear or combine the two into one dashboard. Maybe it doesn't need to be two different dashboards, but definitely think more research is needed for this one. I didn't write any comments in the issue because I had a vague notion of thoughts for this, really.
Yeah, that's helpful. As far as the kind of research that you think needs to get done, do you feel like we should also do like validation on the product side for that? Or is it more like technical investment?
I think it's more on the product side. Just looking at in the issue description, looks like Kenny wrote, we should validate the following either quickly amongst ourselves based on our intent or via research with users based on their behavior. I think
I don't know what you sent. Is that what is this something you're looking at?
Yeah, I think this is a related item because in the configure team, at least Maria is looking at this ops infrastructure dashboard, which is related to the operation dashboard. And she also pointed this, we were talking about the CI/CD dashboard. So I think this is another point, discussion.
And I think you're right, Jake, that I also understood it to be more of a product and design problem validation of fracturing those two. So no sweat there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one, add custom version to environments dashboard. I just thumbs up your comment from 5 months ago, considering using release tags. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah, I think just deciding on a place where we should show the version from the release tag would probably resolve this issue. So I think this would be a light design change. Definitely doesn't warrant a whole redesign, but I think your comment sounds good to me.
One thing I'm curious is to just understand if we are using a view component or if this view is like it's in HAML, kind of like just maybe there's an opportunity here.
I would really have to look to be 100% certain, but I'm fairly certain that the environments dashboard is mostly view. Okay. So I think that this would be affecting a view component somewhere. Are you asking because you want to relate it to like a pajamas component?
Yeah, just to understand because if this is about just adding the tag and then we add in the UI, I just wanted to understand if this can be reused somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll double check and I'll leave a note on this issue and I'll tag you once I confirm that this aspect of the dashboard would be in view.
Okay, cool.
So onto the next issue, hide projects on environments dashboard that are not silver. This was a older issue and I'm wondering if we can actually close this or if we have to reposition the problem, because the environments dashboard requires the silver and premium plan, as does the operations dashboard. And they're both free for use for public projects on gitlab.com. But private projects need to belong to a silver and premium plan. So I don't know if this issue is just stale and just needs to be closed. Jason did.
I think it sounds like that. I think we can close it.
Okay.
If you want to ping me on it and I can close it, just so that I can remember to do that. I'm kind of just listening to you and not following in the Epic right now. I'm taking notes and then listening to you. So if you want to just ping me on it, I can.
Sounds good. Yeah. The only reason why I was kind of like hesitant to mention closing it right away was because I'm not exactly sure what happens if someone's license expires while they're like, if someone has a silver or premium license and then it expires, does the environments dashboard just go away? But I think that can be.
That's exactly what happens in the license RB YAML. It has this permission that checks their license active date, and then all of the premium features will go away if they don't pay.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I'll just tag you for closing this issue then. I think it's just a stale issue. And then, so the next two issues are add query record to specs for environments folder and dashboard environments serializer, and write feature spec for environments dashboard. These are two backend issues for writing tests about the environments. So they don't really require any design discussion at all. These are purely backend test writing. And then the last,
should we move them to the tech epic then, rather than in this epic?
I think that makes the most sense. Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'll do that. Let me pull up your epic right now. Okay.
And the very last issue is too much x-axis padding. That one, I believe we closed that issue. We resolved it already. So I'm not sure if it was just added here just to kind of keep everything contained and linked together and related. But I'm not too sure if there's much to discuss on that one.
Yeah, that one was already there before.
I think is it closed now? It's closed now though, right? Like the status is closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I moved those issues already, and I think we're good on that front. Thank you for going through all of that.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I appreciate it. It was good context to hear, like, it seems right now we would benefit from fixing some of the bugs as is and not really conducting a redesign in context of like other features that we are shipping, right? Because a redesign would be a huge like global effort for our team, right?
Yeah.
So that's helpful. Thank you for doing that. As far as like a goal review, so we had several customer calls in regard to the releases page, and we had a survey go out about environments and how people are using environments. And the biggest feedback that we received is the environments dashboard is unusable for the target customer. And it's because they can't see and manage at scale. So most of the customers that are premium customers are not like a one project shop. Most of them have hundreds of thousands of projects with multiple production environments per project. And when I say multiple, it could be like 50 production environments. And then if they're Kubernetes shop, then they would have like hundreds of thousands of clusters that they're managing with environments.
Massive scale. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And today they cannot, like there's no way to use GitLab. They have to pull the deployment data API and load it into Grafana to view data aggregated about what their deployments are doing. So that's how customers are currently using GitLab for deployments at scale and monitoring it or evaluating it. They check their Grafana dashboards that are pulling the deployments API, and that's it. So what I'm trying to help support with this effort is managing environments at scale and understanding like your health and status of your deployments, because deployments are like a weird object in GitLab in that it's an environment with a positive pipeline status or past pipeline status, and then it has a couple of other like calculations that determine that it is deployed, right?
Mhm.
So I want to find like cheap ways for us to fix the solution as it works today for our SMB customers or our individual developers that are using GitLab. But then I also want us to think like longer term, how do we create a positive experience for the enterprise who's managing hundreds of deployments in a day? And what are your thoughts on that?
So I think that the notion that there's an issue with using the environments dashboard when you're a company of massive scale is that I really kind of feel like it has to be broken down into these smaller segmented problems. So like what are the exact like pain points and bottlenecks in the environments dashboard other than it's just a lot of projects? Is it like performance, loading everything? Is it seeing what is failing? Is it getting like, is it being able to quickly index and find the project that you're looking for? Because if there's so many projects, how are we enabling one to find exactly what they were looking for? So I think segmenting like the actual issue of a large scale organization's problems into these like smaller actionable items might be helpful. And then I kind of feel like it's going to be more about removing what's not needed from them. Is there anything like in the environments dashboard that's just kind of in their way, that's corrupt, that can be removed? And that's like a really big notion, but I think understanding that could be helpful.
Yeah, so we know for sure that people in the environments dashboard aren't always clicking the view app view. They don't really know what that means. They don't know why that's relevant. But we do know that that is an indicator of a deployment when you see a view app. So like that's just showing that it's a live environment that you can see your target, right? So if there's ways to, and by segmenting the problem, are you looking, would it be helpful for like product to surface to you, like specific jobs to be done that the customers are trying to do inside the environments dashboard?
Yeah, I think that'd be really helpful actually.
Okay. Yeah. So because we have some of those today, but the biggest one that like when people wanted the environments dashboard, they were looking to answer the question, how are my deployments going right now? Like that was the question they wanted to answer. And then after we made this available, the question has changed from how are my deployments doing to what deployments are stuck, blocked, not working as intended. So it's like, how can I be actionable after now seeing a partial representation of my deployments?
I'm not really 100% sure we do this. Do we do anything to immediately display a deployment that has failed when you go to the environments dashboard? Like if you have 100,000 projects and project 80,000 fails, does that like show up in some immediate view? I feel like that would be helpful.
So I think this is where like the post-deployment monitoring that Ori is doing, this is our opportunity to like interface with that alerting mechanism. And maybe it's really a section in the environments dashboard that says currently failed deployments. And maybe it's a list, or like trying to think of a cheap MVC, you know, like
Yeah.
how do we display that data so that if someone is running hundreds of deployments, how can they see, like, is it a counter? You know, like
Right.
50 failed deployments, and then they click on it and then they can dive into where to go. That's a really good idea. Look at you, Jake.
I wonder, like, if people can, if the users can understand all these states through the UI the way it is right now, because when your deployment fail, or when there's like an alert, an error, the card becomes red or green or blue or whatever, and that's how we signify those statuses right now. But then, yeah, to act on that and knowing exactly which environment, which deployment has an error, I think, yeah, there's room for improvement if you look at the product right now. And that's, we mimic everything from the operations dashboard. That's also another issue.
Yeah, I think fundamentally I'm struggling with this commitment to just redesigning the environments dashboard and breaking it from the operations dashboard. Like, my gut is saying that that's what we'll need to do in order to accomplish the solution that our customers are looking for. Because today, Ayana, it's just like, I don't even know how the operations doesn't have that pagination, right? They don't have to worry about the limit. The operations dashboard doesn't, right? So I don't know how are they able to avoid that problem?
Maybe we can, because who opened that issue? I think it was Kenny, right? Opened the issue about the jobs to be done.
Yeah.
I worked on I inherited the environments dashboard from Dimitri. And Dimitri worked on it with Jason. So maybe we can ping Jason to try to answer some of these questions, like why some of the decisions were made and why it's,
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, Hayana, about like, well, why do we have the environments dashboard today? And it was to answer the question, how are my deployments doing? That was all Jason gave me. He didn't have any research and issues. He didn't have any customer interviews recorded. Maybe.
Sorry, my connection is really bad. I'm gonna write in the document.
Okay. I will reply back in the document. Okay. So I think from what I'm hearing, Jake, there's probably an opportunity on the product side for us to, before we undergo a significant amount of changes in the actual dashboard itself, understanding the separation between the operations dashboard and the environments dashboard, and that will answer a lot of questions, like on the product side, like, are these people as coupled as we thought they were? And if they aren't, we can then break it and do something different with the environments dashboard. But until we answer that question, we really can't do much around the scale side. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay.
And then I think if we do find a decoupling and we kind of find that the environments dashboard can be its own really like truly independent entity, then I think we can start really segmenting some problem statements about using the environments dashboard and find ways to help our customers get to like what they're trying to do faster by just kind of being preemptive. Like if we know that they want to use the environments dashboard to find a faulty deployment, find that deployment before they start looking for it and show it to them. And if they want to, yeah, who knows? I really don't know what all the problem segments are, so I think it's hard to speak to them. Definitely in terms of technical performance, I'm wondering if because the environments dashboard requires a paid plan, if it would be possible to introduce a API or a way of getting the data that they need in a more performant manner. Like so our API is maxed at like 100 projects. Could we increase that for paid users to 500 projects or so and just help with performance loading on the front end side? But I think before even like getting into the weeds of that, I think just figuring out what all the different individual problems are that our customers are facing when using the environments dashboard.
I can take that with Hyana and we'll get those answers. I think that there's still some work that we can prioritize around just fixing the environments dashboard as it is today. More on the environments list side, maybe like the bugs that you're going through already. Like maybe we can just start the effort on that side, and then the actual path forward on redesigning the actual dashboard can be discussed after we get that research together. That sounds perfect.
Yep, there's definitely some just technical bugs here that can be addressed, like not showing the project name in that error. That sounds like an easy addressable fix to me. And I think things like that we can definitely move forward with.
Perfect.
One thing, Jake, if there's anything that needs to be updated in the issue description and source of truth, from what you've seen, please let me know, and then I'll update everything so that we have, the correct scope.
Sounds good. And Hayona, I'll definitely ping you on that project issue about the version numbers and whether or not we're using view on the dashboard. I'm pretty sure we are, but I'll double check and confirm with you.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
So Hyana, I think what I'll do is start an opportunity canvas for the operations dashboard and the environments dashboard solving connected problems. And then we can go down like a whole research opportunity around this. So I'm expecting this to probably take like maybe a whole milestone, like the rest of this milestone. And in the meantime, we'll just fix some of the tech debt bugs and add, quality, fit, and finish to the environments list, environments views and merge requests and that kind of thing. And then we'll tackle this as a normal validation and problem validation and solution validation workflow. Sound okay?
Yes, that's awesome.
So then, Jake, on your front, do you want to continue going through the issues, just getting a grasp of the landscape, or do you want to start taking like a technical research issue for this project? How can we best enable this project effort from the technical side? What do you think is important?
I definitely think that a low-hanging fruit tech issue like that flash error could be like just a top quick priority, followed by doing like a project research type thing and trying to get a better understanding of, like you said, the landscape, what possible larger scale issues can be existing in the environments dashboard, how coupled is it to the operations dashboard. And yeah, I think that sounds like a pretty good path, attacking the low. I think the issue about pre-populating the modal, I definitely think that's technically feasible. I think at the scale that we were just talking about, where a customer can have hundreds of thousands of projects, that pre-population needs to be really well thought out. Otherwise, we might only like load like 20 projects, and it's really no help for those large scale customers anyways. So I think something like that can be maybe thought through a little bit more, and maybe put on the back burner until we have a better understanding of how to solve it. So yeah, just to clarify, I think the path that I see is to attack the low-hanging fruit issues and then do a research and validation type thing.
Perfect. So Jake, I'll look out for your ping on that flash issue so I can slap a release P1 on it or release P2 on it and get that prioritized for the next milestone. And then if you don't mind opening that technical research, like I'm not quite sure how far you want to reach into that, and then we can collaborate on what you should be researching. So we can go with those two things on your front. Hayan and I will get started on the problem and solution validation for the operations versus release manager personas and dashboard.
Sounds great.
Perfect. Awesome. Are you enjoying this? Is this a fun thing, or is this painful for you? What's
No.
your...
I love this type of stuff. I love these types of conversations. I definitely feel under-equipped with my current knowledge of everything, but I really love it.
Okay, good. Let us know if there's anything that we can be doing to make this a better partnership too. All ears to help support you in both your growth as a developer, but also on this project. So just let us know. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome. Perfect. Awesome. I'll give you guys some time back because I got to get more coffee and go pee. So bye guys.
Bye everyone.